Thank you to everyone who's joined us today on this session on hitting your supply chain climate target with confidence by driving improvement at scale. My name's Tabitha from Manufacture 2030 and I'm joined by my colleague Camille. Next slide, please. At Manufacture 2030, we are a software as a service business, purpose-driven, focused on empowering and inspiring suppliers to hit carbon reduction targets by driving improvement at scale. That's what we're all about. We offer certainty for buyers around hitting their carbon targets and opportunity for suppliers both to decarbonise their operations as well as see associated cost savings at the same time. As you can see on the right-hand side, we work in over 70 countries supporting supply chains to reduce their carbon emissions. We're therefore very multilingual as a business, and our platform is available in over 14 languages with a team in the background supporting in those different languages as well. We have a growing data set of best practice actions that suppliers can view, adopt, work through, and all backed up by an AI recommendation engine to make sure people are seeing the projects that are going to make the most difference to their operations. And then we can't do that all by ourselves, so we work with over 20 different independent knowledge partners to put that into practice. On the screen now are some of our key clients that we work with. So we work in the automotive sector, working with companies such as Ford, Honda, Toyota, etc. We also work with a number of consumer goods brands, grocery retailers and pharmaceuticals brands. These are all supply chains that we see enormous potential to decarbonise, and also that have some really interesting connections and overlinks that we're able to draw from as well. Next slide, please. So our unique climate action programme, how do we help these businesses hit their carbon commitments? It all needs swift, timely action. We've got that end goal of hitting those targets in mind. And we work on a measure, manage and reduce approach to environmental impacts. So our easy to use digital platform, the Manufacture 2030 platform, is the starting place for suppliers to be able to measure and manage their environmental footprint and then also to start reducing that. So within that platform, we've got a database of best practice actions backed up by that AI recommendation engine that suppliers can work through and learn from. Each supplier also has a dedicated climate action manager to support them through the programme and connect them to other people working on similar challenges or people who could solve their challenges. And that's part of the access to that expert partner network that we have, as well as opportunities for peer-to-peer collaboration. There's so much knowledge and expertise in the supplier companies that we work with that being able to unlock some of that knowledge and share it between the supplier network is vital. We also offer training and technical resources, case studies, webinars and events, all intended at sharing best practice, expertise, knowledge to that global network of suppliers to offer the opportunity to upskill them at scale. And lastly, we also have opportunities for green finance for CapEx projects. We're seeing that growing really quickly as people realise the enormous potential within decarbonisation. Next slide, please. So just to share some of the outcomes that we've seen to date, this is all within the automotive sector. So we saw over 1,000 automotive facilities enrolled, seeing nearly 55,000 tonnes of carbon savings recorded between 2021 and 2022, seeing nearly 800,000 metres cubed of water savings, over 8,000 actions adopted, and a large number of savings and waste savings. So some really significant figures showing the potential within this project. And then on the right-hand side, some of the feedback that we've received from one of the suppliers. We really value the relationships that we build with suppliers over time and supporting their sustainability projects and programs within their businesses. So having feedback like this is really valuable and proves that those relationships are important over time. So I'm going to pass over to my colleague Camille, who will talk you through how some of this works on the ground.
Thank you, Tabitha. Hello, everyone. So I am Camille. I'm the Key Account Manager for Scope 1 and 2 at Manufacture 2030. And I'm here today to give you a few examples of various companies that work with us in various different ways, specifically focusing on people who are working mostly on Scope 1 and 2 with us, or who are submitting data as suppliers to buyers who might have asked for some data through our platform. So just to give a bit more background, as you've probably experienced before yourselves, suppliers are usually asked to fill in data for their buyers, but they're never really sure where it goes, never really sure how it's used or if at all. So what Manufacture 2030 is trying to do is to really make a mutually beneficial platform, both for suppliers on one side and for buyers on the other side that might be asking for that data, and of course for reductions across the supply chains. So it's made so that at any point of the journey that someone might be at, that a company might be at, they will find something useful at least on this platform and working with M2030, even if they have lots and lots of tools. Every company is at a different point in their sustainability journey. So the first example that I wanted to share today with you is Bayer. You probably know them. They're a pretty large pharmaceutical company. They're based in Germany. And they have chosen to put over 140 of their manufacturing sites onto the platform working with us. And it's really used as a way to deliver on their science-based targets. So they've set their targets in line with the 1.5-degree global warming target. And they've also committed to achieving net zero. So they are partnering with us to make sure that they're on track toward those targets, that they'll hit them in time as promised to everybody. So they're using the platform to collaborate internally and to get ideas on what to work on next, the different projects that they want to do, to bring all sites to the same standard as well. Obviously very important, and also to get a bit of forward visibility of when they'll hit which targets and if they will do so in time or not. So the next slide, thank you. On these next slides, we'll see a little bit more about some of the aspects of the platform that support Bayer and those needs and ambitions. The platform in itself, just to give more context before we dive into the action plan, has three parts to it. One is to set up a baseline. So there's a part of the platform to input monthly or annual data. Usually that's quite quick. And then the second part is really made to organize the reductions in environmental impact using project plans and getting help also from the platform in choosing the projects that a company might want to do or a site might want to do. And there's a third part then that's accessible, which is different kinds of reports. So some of the reports are specifically for suppliers, and some of the reports also show what buyers might be seeing of the supplier's data. So here we're looking at the action plan specifically. So that part about organizing reduction in environmental impact is very, very important to the companies that work with us, as Bayer does, to really make sure that they're hitting those targets in time. So it represents a blueprint of how they'll achieve their science-based targets with various projects. It's everything that they're planning to do or that they might already be doing in the next months or in the next years to reduce their energy, their carbon, their waste, and their water. It's been created as a project management tool. So some people will only use it for reporting to their buyers. That's completely fine, but it has been built for internal use. So that's how Bayer is using it. It's built to track progress. You can see that first column there. So it helps to monitor environmental savings. Colleagues can go inside of each project and add the savings that they think will be achieved, or maybe that have already been achieved from doing this particular activity. And of course, adding target dates, attaching notes, files and labels, and also There's a little bit of help for budgeting as well. So really made to track that progress internally for people on the platform, not just for the buyers. And it's made to encourage collaboration. So each person has their own account so that they can collaborate on the same project, all using the platform at the same time. Each project can be assigned to a particular person. They can see other colleagues as well. So for example, if say Mary in Shanghai and John in New York are doing the same project, they'll be able to see that on the platform and connect with each other, share best practices, and make sure that they are successful in implementing those projects and making those savings for their site. And then there's a range of projects that they can choose from. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, but they'll be able to see and adopt the same projects that sister sites have adopted as well. So that makes sure that people can see what's most relevant to their company, to their industry, depending on which site they are looking at and implementing projects for. And of course, it's a user-friendly design. That's very important to us. We want to make sure that it's a platform that's usable for everybody, including people who might have never worked on environmental projects before. Of course, it caters to experts as well, but we want to make sure it's accessible for everyone and easy to use. Next slide, please. So talking about those projects that people can choose from, there is a database of actions, they're templates essentially on the platform that everybody can access. So there's over 500 best practice actions on there, and they have been put together with us, with experts like the University of Cambridge or the US Department of Energy, and it really keeps growing as a database. It pulls together as well now projects from other organizations and people using the platform, particularly popular projects, for example, or projects that have been highly successful. They are made into templates and made available for everybody to see and to choose from. And all of the projects should be pretty much implementable by any manufacturing site. We're also adding lots for warehouses and for offices as well. And they range from small continuous improvement projects to long-term CapEx intensive strategic products. For example, solar PV installations or changing product materials or even working with suppliers on decarbonization. So really lots to choose from. When we say that there's something for everyone, that's referring to, we're trying to make sure that everyone can choose what's correct for their own site or for their own company. So there's lots of filters that help to do that. So for example, if somebody that's using the platform wants to focus on, it might be something that's a quick win, and they want to filter for energy and want to look specifically at kinds of projects that target boilers and steam, they can do that. And go into each project that's proposed, each template, have a little bit more information with tips and advice, and they can really then choose what's the best fit for their own site and for their own team to accelerate those reductions. And then finally, we hope that everyone can find something that's relevant to them. As my colleague Tabitha mentioned, it is an AI platform, so it is learning as it goes to help people decide what the best projects are for their environment, and according to perhaps suppliers that are similar to them might have implemented in their own companies. And usually we have found that people will find something. We've had feedback from very experienced EHS teams who have been coming to us and telling us, well, they've found new projects that they hadn't thought about yet. So that's always really great to hear. And next slide, please. Now, the second example that I want to share with you is Adient. They are a tier 1 automotive supplier. They're a global leader in the production of automotive seats. They have about 150 sites globally, and they already have 12 on the platform so far. So they use the platform to report to some of their customers, of course, but they're also starting to use it internally. So you can see from the quote here, they use the reporting tool to display progress towards targets such as CO2 reductions, with many plants already using the reporting metrics to support internal presentations. So again, to give a bit more context to that, Next slide, please. I'm going to explore another part of the platform, which is the reports. So the reports are, as mentioned, the majority of them are really made for people using the platform every day for themselves to understand what's going on in their own site, in their own company, not just for the buyers. At each of the report, it's possible to choose the level of detail that people want to look at. So it can be company, region, business unit, or site. You can really choose between what people want to see. And then there's always a separation as well between CO2, energy, water, and waste. And some of the reports also have a financial side to it to help with that budgeting. So hopefully that creates more accuracy for looking at those reports and understanding how reductions are going. Tracking progress happens through different kinds of reports. There's a report on cumulative savings, for example, which can really support budget unlocking to show that if in 2023 we've achieved all of the projects that are in our plan that we've predicted that we'll achieve, we might be able to save these many tons of CO2. So that's what it's there for. It can really support internally to make a good case for finishing those projects. There's of course an intensity report, a footprint report as well, showing not only where a site is at the moment, where their baseline is, how much they're actually consuming in terms of, in terms of water or energy or waste, but also where they'll be at in the future. So again, if they complete some projects, what will their footprint look like? And what's very useful as well is that we can input a target on top of those reports. So sometimes companies have come and asked us if they can input their intensity target, for example, or their footprint target, net zero target, that can be superposed onto those reports and make sure that everybody involved, everybody on the platform understands how far or how close they are to those targets, if they need to accelerate their efforts or not, and also in what area. If you're doing well on energy, there might be a good push to actually focus on waste next, for example. And it's all made to be able to be shareable information. So of course we've seen people share it internally amongst sites, but also at company level. And with buyers as well. So with buyers, that's usually done automatically through the platform. And we've even had people come to us and let us know that they are sharing those reports with investors and with the external world. So I've seen a sustainability report that's publicly reported on a company's website that includes numbers that come from the reports on the Manufacture 2030 platform. So that's what it's all made for, and hopefully it just gives more visibility to everybody of what's going on and continues to support getting to net zero and to reductions in general as fast as possible. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this is just a screenshot of our website. You can go have a look if you want. These are some of our expert-led webinars that have been made public for everyone. So you can see again lots of different topics here: energy treasure hunts, waste and packaging, net zero for small suppliers. So really lots of different topics, and usually we try and listen to the feedback of users on the platform, what it is that they need, what kinds of projects are they adopting, and how we can come in and support them with this access to experts. Next slide, please. Thanks so much for listening. If you do want to get in touch with us, next slide, please. There's just our the link to our website. There you go. That you please go and visit the website, and you can get in touch with us through there. Thanks again, everyone, for listening.